What's up, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm coming at you with another upload on the 2017 Power Rankings. And today we're going to be talking about the Rams. The Rams of LA now, they used to be St. Louis, now they're LA, are a very interesting situation because they have the first overall draft pick, Jared Goff from last year, and it's pretty interesting because a lot of people have said he's terrible, but I mean he is only in his second year, so we'll really have to see how that plays out, and how good of a quarterback he becomes will determine how much of a chance the Rams have at competing the next 10 years. Because if they have to get rid of him and start over, then they kind of have to get rid of their whole team because they have a lot of aging players and a lot of like this kind of it's hard to say it's their last gasp because they're already terrible, but if Jared Goff doesn't turn out, it sets them back at least 10 years. So let's start off with dead, and their dead position is the tight end position. Like their starter is going to be Tyler Higbee, and then Gerald Everett. Like they might be great, but I've never heard of him, and from what I can see, he doesn't look good. And from what I have seen, those guys have not made an impact in the NFL. Not a noteworthy impact. Now, my deep sleep player is going to be who I talked about earlier, Jared Goff. He's kind of in a similar situation to Blake Bortles. No one believes in him. He did have immense talent, and he does have immense talent, but he's in the same situation where, okay, he hasn't played very well, so do we keep him or do we just let him go? Because it's getting kind of the point where he hasn't done anything for me, but I see the potential in him. Now, after deep sleep, we have waking up, and the waking up is two players for the Rams, and those two are Sammy Watkins and Todd Gurley. They're both big names in the NFL, and Sammy Watkins was predicted as actually a better receiver than Odell Beckham Jr., which seems crazy, but you see the talent in him when he gets on the field. But that's exactly the problem. He can't get on the field. He's injured all the time, and it's got to be so frustrating to be that good, but never have a chance to show it off. Like if he stays healthy, I see him waking up and having a huge year. I also see it in Todd Gurley. He had a pretty bad year last year, and it doesn't help that he has a pretty bad line. This year they do add Andrew Whitworth, which should help a lot because he's an elite offensive lineman. But Todd Gurley, I see him coming back because he had a great rookie year, and a lot of rookies tend to have a sophomore slump. It happens. So I'm looking for Todd Gurley to come out and have a huge year. He's gonna have to carry that offense, and Sammy Watkins will help with some of that load and give Gurley a chance to really pound into the opponent. So the woke. Now this is where it gets really sad if you're a Rams fan. The woke position on the field are the punter and the place kicker. Now, I mean it's not a bad thing to have your best players be your punter and your place kicker, but it shows how little talent's on the rest of the roster. Greg Zuerlein he's one of the best kickers in the league. He probably has the strongest leg in the league. Him and Dan Bailey are the top two kickers in the league, and not only that, but they also have, I would say, a top 5 punter in Johnny Hecker. So they're not going to miss much on special teams. And not only that, but they have Tavon Austin. And Tavon Austin is one of the quickest guys. He's not much of a receiver. He was never meant to be a top receiver, but as a special teams player, he's pretty darn quick. Now, moving on, we've got the team stuff. And the one-on-one matchup of the year, I see as when they play the Redskins in week 2 here. Sammy Watkins versus Josh Norman. Now, you know Josh Norman's had that feud with Odell, and that's been crazy, but to get Sammy Watkins in there and get him in week 2 when he's for sure going to be healthy, that's going to be a matchup to watch. I want to see Sammy Watkins going one-on-one with Josh Norman. That's going to have a lot of attention, and I think Sammy Watkins, that's a big test for him to see how he can show out as one of the top receivers in the league. And that's also interesting because they have Jared Goff, and that will really have a huge measure on how good he is. If he can play without maybe Watkins if he gets shut down. Now, the what to watch for game, I'm gonna make it 2 games. It's gonna be both of the Seahawks game. The Rams every single year, they seem to win one of those games, and they're gonna do it again. They always beat the Seahawks, and it gets kind of annoying. Like, what? How do you do that if you're that bad? But they're gonna find a way to do it. And the turn-off game is going to be right here, the October 1st against the Dallas Cowboys. And like, there's no point in watching this game. Yes, Ezekiel Elliott will be suspended, but their whole team is stacked. They have Darren McFadden won't be hurt by this point. Like, he will be like destroyed. He'll die after like the 5th game or something, but it's gonna be like right before Zeke gets back, so it won't really matter. But he'll be fine in week 4, and what's gonna happen is the Cowboys are just gonna be way too good, and it's gonna be so boring. The Cowboys are just gonna be marching up and down the field, while the Rams are like just pretty. They're gonna be pretty pathetic in this game. Now, moving on to final record. Now, in the last video that you guys should all go and watch, I had the Jaguars finishing 6-10 as one of the surprise teams at the bottom of the power rankings who is going to win a good amount of games. But I have the Rams going the opposite way. I have them only going 3-13, and I don't see many opportunities for them to win. They have a pretty hard schedule with a lot of good teams, but I do see them beating teams like they play the 49ers twice, which will give them probably a win, and they play the Seahawks, who they always win. And there's also teams like the Jaguars and the Colts, where I think they'll get one of those two. And besides that, I don't see many wins for this team. So they're going to be they're going to be a cellar dweller, and I don't really see many wins for them. So it's going to be a struggle. Now, if you like this, go check out my other videos, and peace. I should be back tonight or tomorrow morning with the next team.